All right, welcome to another episode of the TalkBGKY podcast, the official podcast for the city of Bowling Green. It's your favorite department back on the air today, Parks and Recreation. We're talking all things spring programming, spring updates. We just got through some winter weather here in our community, 2 weeks of ice and snow, and all of us are ready to talk about warmer weather, sunshine, being out in our parks, getting ready for spring programming, getting ready for summer programming, getting ready for our hiring season. And so we're talking all things Parks and Rec updates. And so really fun episode ahead, and we hope you enjoy listening. So I got some guests with me. We'll go around the table, starting with Mr. Braxton across from me, and do some introductions.
My name is Braxton Sowell. I serve as the Community Center Coordinator for the F.O. Moxley Center.
I'm Madison Duncan. I'm the Adaptive Recreation Supervisor.
Hey everybody, my name is TalkBGKY Patterson. I am the supervisor at Parker Bennett Community Center.
Last but not least, to my right.
Oh, that would be me. This is Tiara Britt. I am the HR manager that recruits for the Parks and Rec department, and excited to be here with y'all today.
Yeah, so we got a lot of people on the air representing a lot of different divisions for us. All of these divisions that were just mentioned, from Moxley Community Center to our adaptive recreation programming to Parker Bennett, and then myself talking a little bit about, the Russell Sims Aquatic Center, are really the highlight of our summer hiring season. We hire positions in some other areas of Parks and Rec, our maintenance division, golf hires a lot of people for the summer, but really our summer camps and our water park are our heaviest seasonal, hiring areas. And so we have all those represented today to give you a little taste of what we have to offer, Parks and Rec, so we're excited to dive into it. So I want to start, I always like doing this because one of my favorite things to do with these podcast episodes, especially with our Parks department, is when these, our guests come on here that work hard every day, put a lot of effort and heart into what they do. I love to just hear from them, their background, give a little introduction, who they are, what they do, and why they do it. And so I'm going to start with Miss Tiara. What you would think, being in the HR department, is the outcast of the group, but she is not, because her background is in Parks and Rec. And so, T, why don't you share a little bit about your heart for Parks and Rec and why you have it?
Just to be quite honest with you, I am in this role currently because of my history and love for Parks and Rec. We're not going to go into how old I am or anything like that.
Yeah, we won't ask that.
How many years it's been. Way back when I started in parks as a camp counselor. Took a year off working at the water park. Enjoyed both, but my heart was at the camp. This was probably back, 90s, 98, or, a little early 2000s. Loved it. I think
we won't let you know what years we were born.
They hurt my feelings, guys. So everybody out there, I need the support. Throw the support up in the air for me. Took a little break, and I always thought I just loved it. Loved the job. It was the funnest job I've ever had. If I ever had the opportunity to come back to the city again, I would have loved to have been in the parks, but you never know where your path's going to take. So I still got the opportunity when I was hired as an HR manager, and then come to find out, parks was going to be in my department. So some of the same people are still here that were here way back when. We won't, they're older than me, but that was a pleasant surprise. And
we can name some of the vets.
Do we need to name some of those
Frank
people?
Lamanna.
Frank, Derek, Brent, Jennifer Coleman.
Kathy Maroney. We got all kinds of people still here.
Yeah. And I was
Which is cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
I think it's indicative of the itch and the passion that you catch when you go into Parks and Rec.
Never leaves
when
you.
You get in, you never want to leave. So
that's right.
Yeah.
So I'm back, on the outside, not in charge of day-to-day operations, but y'all need to put me out there though. I volunteer as tribute.
That's right.
I got you back.
No, but I think what's cool about that is I'm joking, obviously, when I say outcast, because really you never know where your path is going to take you. But I would venture to guess that your experiences back in the days of, being at the water park and being in our community centers and working with people who even aren't here anymore, like Sandra Kay and all these folks who historically have made such an impact on our community in the world of Parks and Recreation, even in your role, there's an influence there in what you do. Absolutely. Because you kind of understand our processes. You understand who we're looking for and what we're looking for when we're trying to hire people to help us do the programs that we're doing. And so I would assume that, in your role, you're better suited than most people, to help us from an HR perspective with the Parks and Rec processes, I would guess, right? And
Well, thank you for saying that.
That is-
I don't
you're
want to toot my own horn or anything, but yeah, I appreciate that.
yeah, but I would think, just as an example, when you sit in an interview, and we're interviewing for a full-time, part-time, seasonal position, you've joined me on water park interviews before for just a lifeguard or admissions concessions. Like, you're on the same wavelength as us, right?
Absolutely.
So when you're
Yeah.
going through that process, I'm sure, and maybe you have some examples of how you can call back, to your experiences in Parks and Rec to kind of help us find the right people, I guess, right?
Yeah, across the board, you're always kind of looking for not a lackadaisical attitude, but somebody's bringing a little bit of energy. You can't be all the way laid back, and guys, don't get me wrong, this is a chill, laid back position, but this is where the fun's happening. I know you've been seeing our commercials. Parks is the place, right? So, that's kind of the vibe that we're looking for. Somebody that is, going to be adaptable, just bringing the fun, ready and anxious and willing to do stuff, with these kids and these programs and these events, and looking for somebody that we know is actually, going to want to make a contribution, and maybe not just get a paycheck, even though we do pay well. Props to BGPR.
Shout out. Certainly, one thing that we want to always say is as crazy as it sounds, we know that kids that are going to come work for us, yes, we know that they want that paycheck. For many of them, it's their first paycheck, and we are not naive to that. We don't ignore that. We recognize the importance of a kid in our community being able to make money, oftentimes for the first time on their own, but we do really try to create a culture, where they start to understand that it's more than just the paycheck, that they're truly making a difference in the lives of the kids that they get to interact with, the families they get to serve at the water park, the facilities that they get to maintain so that people can enjoy them. We try to create a deeper connection so that they love the paycheck, but they also love the work and they love the job. And
they want to come back.
That's right.
Year
And keep
after
coming
year.
back.
Y'all
So
keep coming back.
That's right.
Keep
That's
on
right.
coming back.
We love it. Makes it easier for us, for sure. Well, I think on behalf of everybody on here, we appreciate, what you do for us. And it's nice to have somebody in the HR, and the entire HR department's fantastic. Everybody that works in there just truly does, I think, have an interest and an intention with the Parks and Rec department, which is nice. But you especially, T, we appreciate the connection that you have to us and everything.
Well,
we appreciate what you do. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
We just brought you on this show so that we could just build you up.
I'll take it. I need a little bit of that. A little pep in my step.
we do appreciate it. So why don't we, before we dive into like what summer positions we have and everything, I want to hear about everybody else's background, because I think it's definitely relevant to the hiring season, because for many of our people that are going to step in maybe to their first job ever, it could lead to a career like it has for some of you all. So, Jakia, why don't we start with you? Just tell us a little bit about your background and how you've gotten to where you are today.
So I started at Parker Bennett in 2017. It was March 13th to be exact, 2017. I started off as a part-timer. At the time, I was really just looking for a job. I really, just needed a place to work so that I could pay my bills. But obviously it turned into more than just a job. It kind of turned into my passion. I'd always liked working with kids, but I guess being able to really be able to make an impact, it kind of encouraged me to stay. I was a part-timer for about 5 years, and then in 2022, I got promoted to a coordinator. And then this past December, I got promoted to a supervisor. So that's just a little bit about my journey here in Parks and Rec. I never would have thought that I would have ended up in Parks and Rec. I don't know what I was trying to do, actually. But yeah, I'm really glad that I applied, and I'm really glad that I had an opportunity to be able to work at Parker Bennett. And now it's just truly one of the best things that has happened to me. I've learned a lot being able to work over there and work in that area. So I'm just very appreciative of the opportunity.
All right. Thank you, Jakia. Maddie?
So I also started in 2017, but I started as a participant in the Adaptive Rec program. I started with wheelchair basketball, and then I slowly moved into being a camp counselor. And then from there, I moved part-time. And then in 2021, I was able to go full-time as the Adaptive Rec coordinator. And then in 2022, I moved to be the Adaptive Recreation supervisor.
Love it. And let's just, I want to call out to the fact that you were very resistant when I tried to get you to come do wheelchair basketball.
I was.
Yeah,
I did not
you did
wanna do
not
it.
want to come do it. But why don't you, if you don't care, because I know you love telling this, but from an adaptive recreation standpoint, one of your own experiences and interactions with another professional in our state, I think encourage you to go into adaptive rec, right? If you want to maybe just share a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was at Fraser for quite a few summers throughout my middle school and high school years. And I had a really great rec therapist there named Jill Farmer, who now works for Lexington Parks and Rec. And she was just amazing. She was outgoing. She loved what she did. She loved doing recreation things with all of us. I was the oldest of our group of kids at Fraser. I was about 15, 16, all the way down to 2. And so she would find different ways for all of us to do something together. Or I was really big in, like, I would be her assistant for things, and I would help her out with the younger kids. And that was just something that I learned that I really loved, and I really loved to be able to do that. And that's thanks to Jill and all the great work that she does.
Yeah, so Jill's fantastic. We'll give her a shout out. Like Maddie said, she currently works at Lexington Parks and Rec. She's like an aunt to me. Her and my mom have worked a lot over the years together doing adaptive recreation throughout the state. And so it's really neat for that experience and the exposure she gave you to encourage you to, go into this field and influence what you do now here in Bowling Green. So I think it's important for the listeners to understand our paths to where we are now, because the impact that you all are making in the community is a direct reflection of people that impacted you. And so I think that's pretty neat for them to hear. So thank you, Maddie. Braxton, what about you? Native of Nashville.
Native of Nashville, Tennessee.
Tennessee in the building.
Okay, the realville. I got my start in parks 10 years ago, actually. So in 2016, back in Nashville, working for Metro Nashville Parks, the Shelby Community Center as a camp counselor. So that was my first start. Came to Bowling Green, to Western. Actually, funny story, I wanted to be a broadcaster. I was going to do media. I was going to be like the next Steve Harvey or something,
Why am I hosting
Hosting
then?
all the game shows. I used to host all
You need
kinda
to be hosting
showcases, all that. Yeah, jack of all trades.
Love it.
Then I worked in leasing and property management for a while. Unfortunately, got laid off due to some budget cuts. Saw an opening at Parks here at Moxley. And
Unfortunately got laid off, or fortunately, because it led you into Parks and Rec?
it did. So, got back to something that I was used to and saw an opening here and went for it. Got the job. So I served as a part-time employee for about a year and a half maybe, and then got promoted in 2022 to a coordinator. So been here ever since, and it's been one of the best things that's happened to me. I've gotten a lot of chances to network and grow with people, met a lot of people in Kentucky, and it's been a blessing. So happy to be here.
I love it,
serving
man.
our parks and families.
That's awesome. So yeah, as you can see, all of us have a story connected to why we're here. Obviously, I grew up in Parks and Rec and love this field growing up in the Realville, but that's okay. Deeply connected to the Louisville Parks and Rec department, and just learned a lot, from my experiences as a kid growing up that we get to apply today. And it's pretty surreal, to be with Russell Sims specifically. I grew up swimming there when I would come visit my grandparents, and can just remember what that water park used to be, and to be able to actually run it now is a really fun thing for me. So I think all of us have really deep connections to the work that we do and the things that we do in our respective divisions and programs. And so again, extremely important, I think, for you as a listener and everybody kind of tuning in to know that the work and the effort and the passion and heart that we bring to our work every day is not by mistake. It's not by chance. It truly is just because of the backgrounds that we have and the stories and everything that we have that have led us to where we are. And we're just pursuing, I guess, this new chapter in our careers with a lot of intention and a lot of care. And so appreciate you guys sharing all that. That's incredible. So why don't we talk real quick just about our, what does it look like to hire for Parks and Rec positions when we go into our busiest hiring season? Obviously now, starting in February, really, our jobs post for summer camp counselor positions, the water park. What we do in the summer would not be possible without these seasonal positions. And so I want to talk a little bit about each of your all's summer camps, because all of y'all represent a different summer camp that we offer. But if Tiara can just very briefly just talk just about that hiring process, what it looks like to come on board with the city, and maybe if you could give your plug from an HR
Absolutely.
perspective. So
Let me just say, we don't know who's listening to this podcast, so I'm going to try to make sure I'm hitting all of these age groups. Speaking from an elder millennial here, just want to give one more shout out before I go into it. I would be remiss for those parents that kind of grew up around the city of Bowling Green. There would be no Parks and Rec without High Street. So those of you that grew up at High Street, send y'all's kids down here because we can hire them. They will love this job. And some of us are still here. And some of us, still love what High Street meant. And we've been able to create with Bowling Green Parks and Rec. So now with that said, hiring process is easy, guys. It's so easy. Give us a little bit of information online. We get hundreds of applicants, but we actually do look at each and every one of them. And then after your application, if you're chosen, if you're returning, there's going to be some screenings and then a little bit of paperwork, but that's about it. I'd love to talk to you if you have questions, if you're under the age of 18, if you need parental guidance or if your parents want to talk to us. Very easy process, just a few steps. We kind of help you along the way. And then you get to have the best summer of your life. So if that sounds like you, please apply. Please apply to the camps. Please apply to the water park. We'd love to see you.
absolutely. Yeah, no. So process, like T said, is very straightforward, very simple. A lot of stuff is initiated online, with our applications. You guys, HR put a lot of work recently, a few years ago, into a whole new website landing page with all of our jobs that just makes it really easy to navigate. And so, ultimately, if you go to bgky.org and the jobs tab at the top, you'll be able to see everything that the city offers, from full-time to part-time positions to seasonal. And once it takes you to that website, you'll see our camp counselor positions, the water park positions, and really everything we have to offer. You make that account, fill out the information. And the cool thing, I think, that people don't realize for returners is once you've put all that information in once, it saves all of it. So
Absolutely.
year after year, all you got to do is go in and submit your job application for the job you're interested in. And so really easy process. Of course, there's background check processes and paperwork processes, but our staff here at the front office for Parks and Rec and then at HR do a really good job of walking people through that and make it pretty easy for them. So starts with the application, and then we'll just kind of send you through the whole process. So
Yeah. And shout out to Miss Kim Ives and Miss Angela McCarley.
That's right.
Because they're
Yep.
on the team too, and they will be helping us get you through the process.
That's
So shout out HR.
I know I sent a bunch the other day, and Angela was about to wring my neck because I had like 13 guards apply at one time.
Yeah, she's still processing those.
But that's
She
okay.
gets them in, though.
Angela, we love you and we appreciate you. But no, it's a busy season for us. We hire, to give everybody kind of a snapshot. At the water park alone, we're hiring about 60 people. In our 3 summer camps, we're hiring about another 40 to 50.
Yeah.
Between the 3 summer camps. And that's just in recreation. We're hiring folks in parks maintenance and golf. So we're probably hiring anywhere from 200 to 250, I'd say, seasonal workers in our Parks and Rec department. And so it is no easy task internally for the folks that, do that. But certainly, again, what we do would not be possible without the seasonal folks that make our programs happen and move on. So definitely appreciate the work that HR does to help us out with those things. So why don't we go around for the 3 of you guys, and why don't you all just each individually tell us a little bit about your specific summer camp, what a day looks like for you as far as the activities and everything that kids get to do. And we'll kind of talk about, the ideal candidate, what the ideal summer camp counselor looks like, and some of those day-to-day tasks. So why don't we start with you, Braxton?
So at the FO Moxie Center, at Summer Fun Camp, we look at about 150 participants every summer. So it's a big camp. We're open from about 7 to 5:30. So it's a long day at Summer Fun Camp, but it's a long day of fun, lasting memories. We typically, we have some free play. We take field trips. So a normal day, we would, come in, gym, the kids are running wild, having a great time. We'll do some structured activities. field trips, like I said, may go outside to the park, our green space, enjoy some nature. Bowling Green has some of the best playgrounds in the city or in the whole state of Kentucky. So we'll check out a good playground, eat some lunch, maybe watch a good movie to cool down, and snack time. And hey, we sending them home.
What are some of those field trips? So I mean, I think everybody who's listening that's local, every community's got their go-to field trips, right? So I mean, when I grew up in Louisville, it was always a bet that we were probably going to go to the Science Center, the Slugger Museum, the Fraser Museum, the Muhammad Ali Center, all those typical. We'd probably go to a Louisville Bats game. Bowling Green's got some of those quick hitters. So probably pretty safe bet. We're going to Cheney's Dairy Barn, Jump Air Zone, the
Southern
Historic
Lanes.
Rail and Train Museum, Historic Rail Park and Train Museum, I should say. So Southern Lanes, got to bowl a little bit. We go to the Capitol.
Why not
But
catch a hot rod game?
But you guys have planned, and Jakia and Maddie will talk about some of this too for their respective camps. But you guys have planned some unique things, I think, too. So what are some of those things that kids will get to do at summer fun camp that maybe you wouldn't think of?
Sure. So, like I said, we're operating in the summer. So something new that us and Parker Bennett started doing is we celebrate Juneteenth. Since we don't get that day off, and technically it's a holiday, the kids get a little lesson about what Juneteenth is, what we do, and we do a celebration. So sometimes it's a cookout. We have bouncy houses, just make it a real big day of fun. Celebrate Juneteenth. What we've recently started doing is at the end of the summer camp, we've combined with all 3 camps, and we've had an end of the year celebration where we do carnival style and treat the kids to water slides and stuff like that. Make it fun for just all the kids that participated in camps this year.
Yeah, and you guys have gone to places, like Westbrook Farms.
Yeah.
One of the things I thought was really neat last year is they worked with some local restaurants like Mr. B's and took some groups and they got to make their own pizzas.
Donatos.
And so outside of your typical field trips that, you could again probably have a sure bet that they're going to participate in and get to do. And those experiences are nonetheless fun. They're new every summer and really exciting, but the staff put a lot of intention towards, planning unique experiences for the kids each summer as well, because we have a lot of returners and we don't want each summer to be a rinse and repeat. We want it to be something new. And so they do a really good job of that. So Summer Fun Camp at the Moxley Community Center. So Braxton and Shawnetta Price and then Omar Rogers help oversee that program here at the community center, and I'm looking forward to another summer for you guys. So
It'll be great.
busy.
Yep. Creating
Of course,
joy.
they come to the water park,
Yeah,
Russell
all
Sims
the
Aquatic Center, the premier aquatic experience in South Central Kentucky. We always love having them out at the water park, and so that's always exciting. So, Maddie, why don't you tell us a little bit about Camp Happy Days and New Adventure Adult Camp? You guys technically do 2 summer programs.
Yeah, so we run 2 summer programs during the summer. So through June and July, we run Camp Happy Days, which is for kiddos in our community with intellectual and physical disabilities, ages 6 to 18. We do 3 weeks on with them, so 3 weeks each session, where we try to do a lot of field trips, we do a lot of games, and then we also try to focus on some skill building activities as well. So we will go to New Beginnings Therapeutic Riding each summer. We usually try to go to the Kentucky Museum, and then a lot of the time we also just spend time doing arts and crafts at Coomer Little. We do movies at the Capitol each week, and then we just go to the pool, go to the splash pads downtown, and we try to let them have just a fun summer where they can just come and be a kid, where they're not really worried about, school, we don't like school. School is not for us structured. We keep the structure, but we try to make it more fun as well. Our New Adventure Adult Camp is for those 18 and up, and also with physical and intellectual disabilities. And that is very much more skill-based for us. So we do a lot of skill-based things with them. We go out to restaurants to eat lunch. They order their own food. They get their own drink. They go through the line if it's a line. We do a lot of different activities with them to just kind of help supplement. A lot of them are out of school. They don't go back to school once they come to us in the summer. And so just trying to supplement that social environment that a lot of them miss. with not being able to go back to school.
And creating, a strong sense of community integration, which is awesome. And so, no, definitely really good program. And Tiara mentioned it a little bit earlier in the episode, just on some of the historical roots of some of the programs we have. And Camp Happy Days is certainly one. The Adaptive Recreation Division in and of itself has a lot of history with our department that we've gone into in past episodes. We'll probably do a whole nother episode just on that at some point. But Camp Happy Days specifically is a program that started up at WKU on the Hill with an education professor, Charlie Daniels, not the country singer, but was a professor there at WKU and started that program there. It transitioned down to Parks and Rec at some point, and we've been offering it ever since. And so a lot of growth over the last couple of years in that program that we're excited to see. Really neat for us to be able to put, again, really, really focused intention, on that population each summer and give them a summer experience. So very cool. And Maddie mentioned it, and I think for all three of our summer camps, Jakia will tell us a little bit about Camp Good Times here next. But another partner that is really important to mention is the Warren County Public Library, because they allow us to come to the Capitol. They oversee the Historic Capitol Theater downtown, and our camps and other programs across the community get to experience, going to the theater and watching movies during the summer. They have great concessions for kids to get their popcorn, get their candy, get their drinks, but it's inexpensive and free for us in a lot of ways, which is just an incredible partnership to have with the library. They do pop-up programs in the parks. They bring their Thrive staff out to our different summer camp programs and do activities with the kids, story times in the park. And so definite shout out to our public library and the partnership that they have with us and Warren County Parks and just everybody to make summer fun and provide activities for everybody. So Jakia, why don't you tell us a little bit about Camp Good Times over at Parker Bennett?
Our camp is very similar to Moxley's summer fun camp. So at Camp Good Times, we run from 9 to 5. And so the kids will come in and then they'll just be able to talk to their friends. Then we will go into an organized activity with their groups. So we have 3 different age groups. We have 6 and 7-year-olds, 8 and 9-year-olds, and then our older kids, which is 10 through 13-year-olds. So each of the kids are split up into their groups. They'll do an organized activity or go on a field trip. After that, they will go eat lunch. We walk up to Parker Bennett Elementary School to eat lunch, and then we'll walk back down to the center and do just afternoon activities, may go on another field trip, just depending on how the schedules are made, and then we will close it out. But like Braxton said, one of the highlights of our summer is our Juneteenth celebration that we do. We get a lot of parent engagement, which is really important for us. Also, BGPD will send some officers out and they will, just interact with the kids. So that is something that is really big for our summer camp. But yeah, anything else what I miss? Field trips, same type of field trips. We do go to the Humane Society. The kids get to do that. Capitol Arts, Great Escape, Water Park, Jump Air Zone, just different things like that. Those are some of the things that we do. I feel like I'm missing something.
Too much to remember.
Yeah, I feel like I'm missing something, but yeah, that's what we do over at the center. We only take 80 kids over at our center due to our facility being a little smaller. So, and we do go out to Ephraim White. We have a good partnership with the Warren County Parks and Rec. So we go to Ephraim White pretty often, and they let us use their gym.
Very cool. Yeah, so, you can see that all 3, of our summer camp programs and divisions really just, again, our goal is to make sure that every kid, every adult, every person that we serve in our respective populations that, we're targeting are able to have a good summer experience. We want people to be able to create lasting memories in the park through recreation and, again, just have a summer that they will remember forever. And so that's the intention of these programs and these staff and those that aren't on the podcast and then everybody they hire just do a really good job of that. And so appreciate the work that you guys do with your summer program. So why don't we go in real quick? I want to talk about just the seasonal positions that we do hire for. So within your respective programs, of course, you're hiring summer camp counselors. I'll get to you guys, I'll give you a second to kind of think about what is the ideal summer camp counselor? What are the traits that you guys are looking for? Some of it's the same across the board, I think, with all three camps, but there's some specific, traits and characteristics that we're looking for in programs like Camp Happy Days or New Adventure Adult Camp with the Adaptive Rec Division. But to give you guys some time to think, I'll touch a little bit on the water park, of course. So if you're not familiar, hopefully you are. Hopefully, every listener's been to the Russell Sims Aquatic Center. But, obviously, seasonal facility for us. We're open at the water park from around May to September, typically Memorial Day to Labor Day, and that calendar may change year to year, but it's a seasonal facility, and so we hire seasonal workers. So we hire lifeguards, admissions concessions, which are our water park staff. We hire some management positions for the summer, whether on the pool side or the water park side, which is, again, our operation side of things. Hire a couple laborers to help us with our maintenance-related tasks and activities there at the water park. But again, hire around 60 to 65 staff every summer for the Russell Sims Aquatic Center to make that place operate and hopefully bring forth just a really good experience and a place for sun slides and smiles for everybody all summer long. And so lots of positions open there, touching on some of those. Hiring lifeguards, obviously you first and foremost, I never thought in my position I would need to explain this outright, but you do have to swim. You have to know how to swim to be a lifeguard. I cannot emphasize that enough to people listening to this podcast, that you must have some sort of base level ability to swim. You do have to go through a certification process. Our lifeguard certification courses are going to be going live here really, really soon. They're going to kick off in March. We have probably 6 opportunities to go through that certification course. It's an intense course because, again, our lifeguards are tasked with keeping people safe in the water and making sure that the environment we have is one that people want to keep coming back to and feel comfortable in, and again, feel safe when they're in our pool. And so it's an important, certification course. We do all of that training and certifications through the Red Cross. So there's a stringent curriculum that is offered through them that we bring forth with our swim instructors and our water safety instructors. And so lifeguard positions are available for anybody 15 and older. We are offering a lifeguard academy March 6th and 7th. And that will be live on our website soon. That's a $25 fee. That just allows you to learn the skills before going through the certification course, practice those skills that are necessary to become a certified lifeguard. And so lots of opportunities of being a lifeguard is something you're interested in. If you can't swim, it's okay. We have a place for you. Our water park staff includes admissions and concessions opportunities. You're really kind of the first impression when people come into the water park. We put a lot of intention with that staff as well to make sure that we're putting smiles on people's faces when they come into the water park. So the water park is its own big animal when it comes to our summer operation, but lots of opportunities to work with us each summer. And we really try to create a culture of care and a place that people enjoy working. And again, are connected to a bigger purpose than just a paycheck. And so if that's something you're interested in, then of course you can reach out to our office and look for those applications. So I gave enough of my spiel on the water park. Did you guys have time to think about your ideal camp counselor? All right, so I'm going to just throw it out there and let somebody take it, whoever wants to go first. What does the ideal summer camp counselor candidate look like to you?
We can all bounce off each other because, like Cameron said, I think
it's the same
it's
ways.
the same.
Yeah.
I know for me, I am looking for somebody that is very enthusiastic. They enjoy working with kids. They're patient, also responsible. Looking for someone that will be able to stay calm under pressure as well, because working with kids can be a lot. So being able to just kind of keep a level head when things get a little rough.
Yeah, definitely somebody who adapts to change well. In parks, sometimes things don't go as planned. So somebody who's, willing to adapt when, life gives us a curveball. So definitely look for somebody who's patient, somebody who's not a couch potato, people who like to move. At Moxie, we have a gym. We're outside a lot. So definitely got to be on your feet, on the go. Definitely look for people who know how to put their cell phones down and be attentive, be proactive and not reactive. Kids do a lot of stuff, and sometimes you don't catch everything. So we definitely look for people who are tentative to a lot of things. People who can also take accountability. Sometimes things happen, but people who can take accountability for their actions, and people who are teachable and want to be better.
Yeah, so just like Braxton and Jakia said, we're looking for all those same things too. Being able to quickly shift programs when it's not working with our kids anymore, or being able to be patient with them, and being able to just, the main thing that we talk about each summer before we start is that we just want people that love our kids. We get them from 8 to 3 every day, and just from 8 to 3 they're going to be loved, and that's one of the most important things to us in a world where maybe that's not always how they come from home. They don't always come from the greatest of homes. They don't always enjoy going to school. They don't always enjoy going out, but we want them to be able to be around people that will make the summer enjoyable for them.
I think as Jakia jumps back in here, I think what Maddie said is extremely important. The staff that we hire are ultimately stewards of what we do 365 days a year, right? 365 days a year. As a division within recreation, our mission is to create joy, opportunity, and connection for all people through what we do. So when Maddie's talking about, we never know, the situations that our kids are coming from. We never know what their home life is like. And when they come and we ultimately just want to provide a safe space for these kids, a place where they're going to have a smile on their face. They're going to be cared for. They're going to be loved, and they're going to be valued. And we want them to leave feeling that way. That's what we do 365 days a year. And it's really important for the staff that we hire to also kind of take charge and take responsibility for that same mission. And so it's really important that they come in with that same care and intention. So
We're looking for people that are willing to be creative and help us plan activities and different things like that for the kids. I know we've been talking a lot about how much fun it can be, and we're looking for, people that are very enthusiastic and different things like that, but also keep in mind that this still is a job. So we definitely want to still be professional. So we're looking for people that will show up to work on time, will be able to communicate with their supervisors and coordinators about anything that may arise.
yeah, and I think along with what Jakia is saying, regarding professionalism, we recognize that for a lot of the positions we hire for, it's an opportunity for a kid to have their first job. We want, their experience with us to be a learning experience, for them to learn punctuality, being on time management, responsibility, all those things that come with your first work experience. We want them to learn those things through their job and their time with us here at Parks and Rec and our respective programs. I often say that when we're doing trainings and we're preparing for the summer and talking to our staff, it's very likely that, a lot of the people that work for us, they may not go into a career of Parks and Rec. We would love for them to. We would love for the work that they do with us as a seasonal employee or a part-time person in our programs, like for most of us, to be what encourages and inspires them to pursue a career in Parks and Rec. But for a lot, they're going to be lawyers, they're going to be doctors, they're going to be teachers, they're going to, work in finance or whatever respective area they go into. But what I always tell them is the things that you're going to learn as a lifeguard, as a camp counselor, working in concessions at the water park, whatever it is, I hope that 20 years from now, when you're in your position as the CEO of some company, or you're teaching in a local school, or, you're running your own business, that you call back to your experience and your first job with us here at Parks and Rec and say, man, I really learned how to interact with the community. I really learned how to love other people well. I really learned how to care for somebody next to me or place somebody's needs above my own. And I'm hoping that their experiences working for us are things that, help them throughout their lifetime and whatever career they end up pursuing. And so with that said, all of us here take a lot of responsibility having these kids or whoever's working for us. We place a lot of responsibility on ourselves to ensure that their experience working at Parks and Rec is one that does influence, their entire life moving forward. And I think that's an important thing for parents to hear. I think it's important for potential applicants to hear, when you work here at Parks and Rec, you really do get to be a part of something bigger than yourself. You get a really cool opportunity to just make an impact in the lives of other people in the community around you. And so I think that that's a huge encouragement, hopefully, to the listener to definitely look into positions that we offer and working with us this summer. So why don't everybody give us an elevator pitch, just a quick one-liner of encouragement to people to apply to work here at Parks and Rec this summer. If you could say one thing, what would it be?
If you are looking to serve your communities and want to enhance the quality of life through parks, come to BGPR.
If you want to come hang out with, in my opinion, some of the coolest kids in our community, come apply at BGPR.
If you want a job that doesn't feel like a job, come work at BGPR.
Ultimately, as everybody has said, if you want to be a part of our mission of creating joy, opportunity, and connection for all through recreation and through our parks, then you definitely want to come work at BGPR in the different areas that we offer. Again, you can be a part of creating sun slide smiles and fun at the Russell Sims Aquatic Center. You can work as a camp counselor in our 3 summer camps across our respective divisions and just help our local youth have a fantastic summer experience. And so lots of opportunities for you in the recreation division here this summer with Bowling Green Parks and Rec. It's been a pleasure being on the air with you guys. Braxton, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us here.
All right. Madison, thank you.
Thank you.
And Jakia, thank you for representing Parker Bennett today.
No problem. It was a joy being able to sit here and talk with you all.
Love it. It's been a blast. You guys are fantastic. You can see we've got some amazing personalities here in our parks department, and we would love for you to join us this summer and be a part of everything that we're doing. Lots of events and programs coming up. Stay tuned to our social media channels, BGKY Parks and Rec on Facebook, Instagram. You can look at the city's website, bgky.org/parks, and you can just check out everything that BGPR has to offer. There is always something going on, no matter the season. This has been another fantastic episode of the TalkBGKY podcast, the official podcast for the city of Bowling Green. We will see you next time, and we will see you out at the park.